The smashed-up jetty says it all, the access point to one of the most beautiful Whitsunday Islands in a twisted mess. The South Molle Island resort, a former drawcard for international tourists, is now unrecognisable. This is what's left of the bar. After being closed for years, taken over by foreign buyers and smashed by Cyclone Debbie, there's no clear idea when it will reopen. Kevin Collins used to manage the resort in the 1980s.
It breaks my heart to see what's happened to it because I left the islands in 1997 and that was my last time there, and I remember sailing away with a tear in my eye.
He lived there with his family at a time when it was booming.
It wasn't many years later that costs of operation started to catch up with them. There's a story about how do you make a small fortune out of an island resort is you start with a big fortune.
Dive operator Tony Fonts remembers it as a value-for-money destination.
We had staff on the island that would take people diving, get them onto the boats to go diving. And it was a lot of fun because it was very much a family-orientated island.
The resort and jetty are leased through the state government. They've had a number of owners over the years, including Ansett in the 1980s.
South Molle was valued earlier this year as worth $16 million.
Before it closed in 2016, it was being used as a backpacker hostel. Some posts to TripAdvisor at the time were less than flattering. Almost 2 years ago, China Capital Investment Group took over. The company also owns Daydream Island, where it's embarked on an $85 million redevelopment. But it says it could be years before it rebuilds South Molle, especially after damage sustained in Cyclone Debbie. In its heyday, this resort could cater to up to 600 guests and staff. All that's left now are a few empty campsites and a huge rotting mess. The conditions of the lease state that the lessee must reasonably at all times provide and maintain tourist accommodation of a standard acceptable to the department, and at all times provide, maintain and staff a satisfactory transportation service between the mainland and the leased land. Last month, the government gave the green light to a $600 million redevelopment of Lindeman Island, which has been closed for 6 years. Locals say while there's been trouble on some of the islands, Airlie Beach has boomed.
When the islands were at their best in the late 80s, early 90s, none of this was here. None of it. And now I think there's 800 hotel rooms in Airlie Beach which didn't exist when the islands were in their heyday.
Of the 20 resorts operating on tourism leases held with the state government, 5 are in arrears. The Department of Natural Resources won't say which have fallen behind. Josh Bavis, ABC News, South Molle Island.